What's up guys, my name is Shem, and in this video you are going to learn how to have aim like this with Kovaaks. Let's get right into it. Before we begin the video, just a friendly reminder not to forget to like and subscribe as it helps me out a lot. So before we get into how to use Kovaaks, we have to give it a little intro. Kovaaks is a third-party aim training software available on the Steam store for around $10 US. It is used by many top aimers and pro Fortnite players to train and improve their aim. It is amazing for improving aim as you use it correctly. Okay, so next we need to clear up some common misconceptions and myths surrounding aim training and using Kovaaks. Let's go over what aim trainers do and don't do. We'll start with what aim trainers do. Aim trainers do have no downtime, which means they make for more efficient practice. They do remove the possibility of tilting and frustration from losing. And aim trainers do isolate mouse movement and aim practice because there's nothing else to worry about. They also provide measurable progress in the form of scores. Now, let's talk about what aim trainers might do. Aim trainers might increase your motivation because of leaderboards if you're competitive like that. Because you're standing still in aim trainers, not every motion is simulated, which means it might not be as accurate for practicing your aim. And movement and aim may not be combined properly. Now let's do what aim trainers won't do. Aim trainers will not teach you dodging patterns, and they will not teach you the game sense associated with aiming in-game, like weapon recoil and what peaks to take. Okay, so now we got all those misconceptions out of the way, let's get into how you should use Kovaaks to train your aim most effectively. First up, number of hours is not a good measurement of training. If you train too long one day, your training becomes ineffective. This means that you should be training consistently over consecutive days and use that as a measurement of the amount of training. Next, you need to sleep. Our brains process most new information during our sleep, which means that although you aim train during the day, the real improvement in your aim happens at night. Third, you shouldn't train too much. This can cause tendon pain or other types of pain in your hand or wrist, will mean you have to take a break from training and thus lose aim training progress. If you get too burnt out, don't be afraid to take a break for up to 2 weeks. During this period, if you've been aim training consistently before, your aim will still improve because aiming improvement is caused by development of fine motor muscles in our hands, so you still improve your aim without actively training. Next, do not judge your improvement when training on leaderboard scores. In fact, it's highly common for people's scores to decrease after a period of training. However, their aim has still vastly improved, and this can be seen in their gameplay and consistency of scores. The best indicator for your improvement in your aim is mouse feel. This is when your mouse movements are becoming more confident, smoother, and more reactive because your brain and body are becoming more accustomed to making your mouse move to where it needs to be when you want it to. And lastly, stick to your settings. Make sure to have your exact sensitivity and FOV from your game and don't change it. You should never try to cheese a high score by changing your settings in Kovaaks to give you an advantage on a particular scenario. The last thing that you should do while training is to not be afraid to complement your Kovaaks playing with an in-game aim trainer like Kovaaks. Some scenarios and angles are just really hard to replicate in Kovaaks, and so you'll get better practice for those with in-game trainers. Before I talk about what scenarios are the best to play, we have to talk about how aimers class them. Aimer 7 classes his Kovaaks scenarios into 3 categories. Click timing scenarios are ones that focus on single shots, Tracking scenarios focus on holding down your mouse and following a bot around. And target switching scenarios are basically a combination of both, where you track a target for a short time and then flick over to another one and repeat the process. I'll be color coding them throughout the rest of the video like this. Okay, so what are the best scenarios to play? Let's do them in order. First, we have the best click timing scenarios. Some great ones in this category include 1 wall 6 targets TE, 1 wall 6 targets small, fast pump flick or any of its variations, bounce 180, 1 wall 5 targets pasu, tile frenzy 180 strafing, and popcorn. These all work on click timing and flicks in very different ways. 1 wall 6 targets TE and 1 wall 6 targets small work on click timing on fixed targets. Fast pump flick works on flicks on fixed targets, and the others work on click timing on moving targets. I recommend that you should experiment with playing all of these and some of their easier equivalents if the current ones are just too hard, like Bounce 180 Jumbo. Next are the tracking scenarios, and these include air, ground plaza, close long strafes invincible, close fast strafes invincible, vertical fast strafes, thin aiming long, and smoothness trainer. These, like the click timing ones, all work on different types of tracking. Air and ground plaza work on all-round trackings and are classic Kovaaks scenarios. Close long strafes invincible and close fast strafes invincible work on close range tracking. Vertical fast strafes work on, you guessed it, vertical tracking, and thin aiming long invincible and smoothness trainer work on improving the smoothness and consistency of your aim. The last category we have to cover before we get into the best routines for Kovaaks is target switching. This section will be a bit shorter as there's a lot less variation in these scenarios. They are pat target switch, bounce 180 tracking, and tile frenzy 180 strafing 300% tracking. That's a mouthful. The only main difference between these scenarios is that bounce 180 has a vertical element to it, and the other ones are purely horizontal. Now, the part you've all been waiting for, the best Kovaaks routines. All of these routines are gonna be complete routines that focus evenly on click timing, tracking, and target switching. These are, for the most part, the best types of routines for all players, and single category routines, like click timing only routines or tracking routines, are really only good for higher level players or different games. We're going to be going over 3 levels of routines for different skills of players: a complete beginner routine, an intermediate routine, and an advanced routine. A quick tip for these: you don't need to look good. Most of these names are even above what they are. If the routine is too hard for you and you feel that your aim is not improving enough, there's no shame in changing to a lower routine. It'll make you better in the long run. Okay, now we've gotten past that, let's get into the routines. We'll start off with the beginner routine, and that goes like this. You should first play close long strafes invincible for 15 minutes, followed by 1 wall 6 targets small for 10 minutes to work on your precision. Then thin aiming long invincible for 10 minutes to work on your smoothness in your aim. Next, 1 wall 9,000 targets for 10 minutes just for pure click timing practice. Vertical long strafes for 10 minutes to practice vertical tracking. And then last but not least, tile frenzy 180 for 10 minutes to improve your large angle flicks. Next, we have the intermediate routine, and that goes like this. Close fast strafes invincible for 10 minutes, vertical fast strafes for 10 minutes, tile frenzy 180 strafing 200% tracking for 10 minutes, one wall 5 targets underscore pasu for 10 minutes, bounce 180 for 10 minutes, target acquisition flick easy or pump flick easy for 10 minutes, and then air for 2 or 3 runs. Personally, this is the routine level that I am at, and I tend to aim train using some of these scenarios because I find it too hard to play the advanced routine. And last but not least, the advanced routine. At this point in the routine, you're going to need some variation in your aim training, so I'll give you guys 2 scenarios for each slot, and you can switch between them as you wish. Also, all of these scenarios should be played for 10 minutes, so I'm not going to list the times for all of them individually. First, close fast strafes invincible or vertical fast strafes. Both great tracking scenarios. Next, we have air. Just air. I know I said I would list 2 for each one, but air is just way too good to have a substitute. Next, fast pump flick or popcorn. These are both great click timing scenarios. Then one wall 5 targets underscore pasu or bounce 180. Then pat target switch or bounce 180 tracking. And finally, one wall 9,000 targets or one wall 6 targets small for precision click timing. Alright guys, that is Kovaaks, the best way to improve your aim in Fortnite and really any FPS, and the best routines to do just that. If you enjoyed the video at any point, I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like and considered subscribing. Say hi to me in the comments or drop video ideas below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.